Greetings, my fellow free and low-sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning to LL3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful realms of planet Earth. Today's date is Saturday, July 25th, 2026. This is episode 1974. Don't DSA the USA. Before I proceed, you can follow me on multiple social media sites and podcast channels. Just type in Looky Luck number 3, Looky Luck Roman number 3, 3 eyes with a Looky Luck Roman number 3 podcast. In addition, if you have any questions, comments, recommendations, and all that good stuff, whatever you do, please use decorum. You can hit me via email to ll3.podcast@proton.me. If you don't donate, go to paypal.me or cash.app/Looky Luck number 3. So I do another episode on this date, and this one really caught my eye, and I do find it amusing but not surprised. This came from the website nssf.org, which reference to the firearms industry, right? I'm just gonna look this up. I should have taken care of this before I went. Yeah, the Farm Industry Trade Association, nssf.org. So definitely check them out. And they had an article a few days ago, which I just saw this today. It's been written by Larry Keane. Don't DSA the USA. Protect liberty to stop communism. So I'm going to continue on here. As it reads, there is a dark mood creeping into American politics that has even the most diehard gun control politicians worried. Democrats typically, but not always aligned with gun control, are facing the prospect of their political party turning their gaze to complete control. Enter the Democratic Socialists of America, DSA. These candidates for political office aren't your grandfather's Democrats or even limousine liberals. They can't even honestly call themselves socialists. They're cosplaying communists who are shredding any pretense of respect or admiration for the U.S. Constitution. This is what George Orwell warned of in his novel 1984. They want complete and total control of the American government, including openly calling for the abolish of the U.S. Constitution, tearing down the balance of powers between the three branches of government, destroying of Department of War, and most ominously seizing resources and production. Make no mistake, controlling the firearm and ammunition industry would be on the top of that list. Who is DSA? The DSA has been making waves by striking out against Democratic candidates in primaries. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani, I call him Madami, by the way, is a member of the Democratic Socialists of America. Most notably disgraced former Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate Graham Planter, a fabled oyster farmer who scandal-ridden past finally crashed his run for office, is an avowed member of the DSA. While Planter wasn't Democratic by any means, he was full-on communist. That was uncovered in his previous online postings, which he attempted to delete. Holding his hand the whole way along was U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders from Vermont. That's the same Senator Sanders who honeymooned in Moscow in 1988, while the Communist Soviet Union was still in power. Planter's rise and inglorious immolation only emboldened members of the DSA. More candidates are on tickets in New York, Pennsylvania, Colorado, Florida, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Democrats who are notoriously anti-Second Amendment are suddenly finding themselves having to defend against a communist flank in their own party. That should concern everyone who believes the Constitution is the founding document that guides America's form of government and protects Second Amendment rights. The DSA's party platform essentially calls to tear it all down. They would burn it to the rule over the ashes. The DSA platform. The DSA's platform includes abolition of the U.S. Senate. Sorry, Senator Sanders, for losing your job. Replacing the President of the United States and U.S. Supreme Court with the executive and judicial branch that will be subordinate to what's left of Congress. That's not reforming the U.S. Constitution. That's complete annihilation of it. The 3 articles of the U.S. Constitution set up the federal government's legislative, executive, and judicial branches. Each branch is co-equal and is a check and balance on the other. The DSA would give their new form of government complete authority, with the executive and judiciary subservient to the authority of what's left of the legislative branch. It spells out in their platform where they call for a new Democrat Constitution. The DSA platform also espouses seizing control of the means of production. The DSA's Constitution and bylaws state in Article 2 that, quote, "We are socialists because we share a vision of a humane social order based on popular control of resources and production," unquote. Further, in 2028, the DSA explicitly called for the repeal of the Second Amendment, stating, quote, "The only way to guarantee that we will dramatically reduce acts of violence involving guns is to remove guns from society," unquote. The DSA called for an adoption of the 28th Amendment, repealing the Second Amendment and prohibiting of manufacturing, transportation, or importation in or into any state, territory, or possession of the United States for delivery or use therein of pump-action, semi-automatic, or automatic weapons. Can prohibition ring a bell, my friends? The 18th Amendment? Absolutely. Which they're a bunch of illiterates anyway, but I'll continue on here. That's not just ending an individual right to keep and bear commonly owned firearms. The DSA would allow individuals to maintain ownership of a single-shot firearms. It means the DSA would seize control of the firearm and ammunition industry, since the DSA platform calls for popular control of resources and production. That's full-on communism, which is marked by brutal violence. Cosplaying communist. The DSA New York City co-chair Gustavo Gordillo was grilled by Fox News' Martha McCallum on the party duplicity to end American democracy. What is even his own family escaped Maoist communist guerrillas in Peru. Gordillo attempted to twist that by blaming the violent communism on capitalism and American imperialism. Remember, folks, communism is equivalent to Yankee imperialism. What I mean by that, control and dominate everything. So is doublespeak, what this goofball has to say. I seen the interview. He's like, "I'm a little glam boy. Look at me." Please. Give him a penile microphone to enhance his masculinity. And I digress. McCollum wanted to ensure the answer was clear. They come here because they don't like the imposition of American imperialism in the country that they're in. She asked. Gordillo answered yes. McCollum responded, "That doesn't make much sense." Hassan Piker, the online agitator who stokes anti-Semitism and aligns with the DSA, showed the movement's true colors. He addressed a recent confab of the National College Democrats of America group while wearing a clothing outfit that closely resembled former communist dictator Mao Zedong. You know, the peasant outfit. It shouldn't be lost or any student of history that Mao enforced state control of who could possess firearms when his Communist Party took control of China in 1949, declaring that all political power comes from the bearer of a gun. The Communist Party must command all that no way guns can ever be used to the command party. And I'll just be, before I proceed, him and Kachaka do have in common. They outlawed firearms. They love disarmed peasants. Okay? Because in 1935, under nationalist China, firearms were considered outlawed. All right, stuff I've read. I'll continue on. It's an estimate that 65 million Chinese died through Mao's communist policies of execution, imprisoned, or forced famine. The DSA are cosplaying communists, and is shaking up even the most ardent gun control voices. Van Jones, a former special advisor to President Barack Obama, political analyst, and CNN host, and self-described progressive Democrat, posted to X, leaders in both parties called to tell me the same thing. This stuff has gone too far. Bill Maher, comedian and political talk show host who is described as a moderate liberal, told ABC's Jonathan Karl that he's open to voting for Vice President J.D. Vance should he run for office because of the less lunacy. Okay, I've read the quotes from the DSA platforms from their own mouths, Maher said, referring to the organization DSA, according to The Hill. Don't tell me I'm not seeing what I'm seeing. And DSA, again, they say that things like takeover of key industries, that's communism. You know there's a definition. Jake Altman, was a former DSA member who is now warning that the DSA is bent on destroying America and its fundamental identity. He told Fox News the DSA is perfectly willing to cohabitate with Maoists and Trotskyists and with Leninists, groups determined to rip down America. They are people who want to pull down American institutions and are very clear about it. People who have this thrill to violence. This is just profoundly troubling at a time when our country is already facing many, many problems. Personal liberty. That's why protected liberty is more important than ever for those concerned about freedom. Their Second Amendment rights and the ability for the firearm industry to provide the firearms they choose to own. The Protect Liberty Political Actions Committee, launched with express goal of electing candidates who are dedicated to preserving and protecting liberty, freedoms, and the constitutional rights of all Americans. This especially includes the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. Protect Liberty PAC will take a leading role and be more dynamic and outspoken in the electoral process in order to protect the firearm industry, beginning at the ballot box. Protect Liberty is a super PAC, founded to elect viable candidates who will protect firearm and the ammunition industry and defend Americans' freedoms enshrined in the Bill of Rights. This PAC will expressly advocate for the election or defeat of specific candidates. Advocacy will be completely independent of any candidate or political party. The firearms industry cannot afford more legislative and regulatory attacks from Washington, D.C., partisans who seek to end lawful comments in our industry. The balance of power in Washington, D.C. rests on a razor's edge, and Protect Liberty PAC will focus on federal elections to ensure American freedoms have a bulwark. The battle lines are drawn and the stakes are high. For more information on Protect Liberty PSC, visit the website. Learning about who these candidates are and how they would respect American freedom is vital to ensuring America isn't a victim to communism. Well, first off, the DSA really stands for delusional, skanky asswipes. That's all they are. A bunch of punk-ass wusses that can't even fight out of a paper bag. And to be very frank, what they are admitting here is treason. And I've read that one article about the Second Amendment in their pathetic bylaws. It was nothing more than used toilet paper coming out of a abandoned outhouse. And what treason means. Treason is a betrayal of one's own country by attempting to overthrow the government through waging war against the state or materially aiding its enemies. According to the U.S. Constitution, Article 3, Section 3, treason against the United States shall consist only on levying war against them or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. No person shall be convicted of treason unless on the testimony of two witnesses to the same overt act or on confession in open court. Furthermore, Title 18 U.S. Code, Section 2381 states that a person guilty of treason against the United States shall suffer death or shall be imprisoned not less than 5 years and fined under this title but not less than $10,000 and shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. That's what they are. And this is what happens when you have other totalitarian hacks that are not with this quackery affiliation. Let all this slide. And you know what? Now he's biting them in the ass. Blowback's a bitch. I don't like using vulgarity as much, my friends, on my show, but now they're wigging out. That's what happens when you take things for granted. You assume give up your freedom for security is the right thing. You deserve either. You are part of the problem. If you go, there's some places, if you see a Communist Party building in the United States, say, hey, how great is this outhouse? That's all it is. One big dump facility. Just go there, take your dump in the middle of the floor, and walk out. Because that's how they want to treat you. So I'm going to be adding to the video Innocence Betrayed, which talks about why gun control and genocide, democide go hand in hand. They want you to leave all their security eggs with them. Those delusional, skanky asswipes. I renounce them. I spit on them. And they're nothing more than garbage, as far as I'm concerned. All talk, no action. And all you fruitcakes out there, Orwellian saps, you're just an issue. And blowback can be received when least expected. Remember this, my friends. The key to liberty is eternal vigilance. And our Declaration of Independence, never trust the government. I would love to hear what you have to say, including the delusional, skanky, asswipe affiliates. Their comrades, their Uncle Toms and Angel Mamas. You're nothing but pieces of filth. Prove me wrong if you dare. Well, that will be it. I thank everyone for listening, but feel free to download and share us throughout your social media networks. Any questions, comments, recommendations, all that good stuff. Whatever you do, please use decorum. Hit me via email to ll3.podcast@proton.me. If you're doing it, go to PayPal to me or cash at /look3. And folks, please pay homage to the people that suffer from the St. James Church massacre that happened 33 years ago today. And thanks to Charles Van Wyck for protecting the flock, the people, the best he could. Over 900 lives were saved. And he did reconcile as well. Good man. Bless him. Bless everyone else around the world. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading love. And may your guardian spirits be with you.